here with Jared Walker from $4 on episode number 14 of the No BS Show. So thank you so much for joining us on the show here today. Definitely appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk a little bit about one of the things that I'm really passionate about is giving back into the communities that I live in, that work in, and being more a part of the community. So it was really cool meeting Jared, 4 or 5 years ago now, and kind of hearing his story. So tell us a little bit about $4 and what it's about.
So $4, we are a nonprofit, help local families pay overwhelming medical expenses. So started out with the idea if we can get a lot of people to give a little bit, we can make a big impact in the community. So we got people signing up for $1 a month. Every month you get a video, tells where your dollar goes, who it helps. Then at the end of the month you get like a follow-up video that shows the impact of our community. So that's kind of how we got started. After watching my own family kind of go through it with the medical crisis, I thought, that there should be something there to help families when they go through this, because when you go through a medical crisis, you shouldn't have to go through financial crisis, and that's kind of what happens all the time. So that is what we do. That's how we got started. We have another program now. I think we'll get to that a little later.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't really realize is how much that really impacts people when they go through that, through those crisis or through that crisis, that it ends up impacting them and their family so much financially. And I didn't really realize it at all myself until my grandpa passed away, and then my grandma got stuck with over $100,000 in medical debt and pretty much almost lost her house and everything. So you don't really realize how many people that impacts as well. And I believe that's the one of the number one debts in America is medical expenses, is it not?
Yeah, number one cause of bankruptcy. So like 65% of all bankruptcies in America are because of medical debt. More medical debt than student loans and credit card debt combined. It's a big deal. So it's one of those issues where it's really relatable. I mean, the first time I met you, that was one of the big reasons you got involved. Is because you were like, hey, I know what this is like. I want to be able to help. So I think that it's one of those causes. It's very relatable. You see it all the time. Everyone knows someone that's going through a medical crisis. So it's not something that you're trying to convince people that it's like a worthy cause. People get it right away.
I mean, especially since it's something where you're just giving a little bit per month, $1 a month. And I think one of the coolest things is, you're able to donate 100% of the proceeds. And, that's really hard to find today in a lot of the nonprofit world. And it's really cool to be able to see how you're able to donate all of that to the family. And each month you get the powerful video that shows the impact that has on that family and how we're able to help them out.
Yeah. And the 100% model was something that I was super passionate about. Yeah. I actually, I had the idea of this in 2012, but we didn't even get it started until 2015 because I literally, over the years, was calling every single merchant processing company that I could find, Oregon, Washington, California, just all over the place, trying to figure out how can I give 100 pennies of the dollar. And every time I called them, they just would mostly laugh at me, nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to donate merchant services to you. You're never going to be able to promise 100%. And then, funny enough, it was the most random. I was working somewhere else. A Riverside rep came in and I started plugging $4, and they were like, you should meet with Brandon. So, the only reason we're even able to promise 100% is because the generosity of Riverside. So appreciate
Yeah, absolutely. It's a true pleasure to be able to give back, in a small way like that for us. And that's what we're about, is giving back to the communities which we're a part of, especially with something that has such a great worthy cause that's doing so much and really helping so many people. And it's been a true pleasure meeting you and getting to be able to give back and help out that way. So.
It's been super fun. I mean, it's the 100% model. People love it. It's so clean. It's so if you can say, number one question is, well, how much of my dollar goes, and it's if you can just say 100 pennies, all of your money goes to the family. We don't touch it. We have outside revenue that comes in from private donors and corporate sponsors that fund our overhead, but 100% of the public donation goes to the families, which is like you said, unheard of. So
where did you come up with the idea initially?
Of $4 in general. So my wife and I were sitting at home. She got a call, and her aunt had passed away from cancer. And then about 20 minutes later, I got a phone call. My cousin had gone into labor 7 weeks premature. Baby needed heart surgery to live. And it was like the only conversation people were having was like, well, how are we going to pay for this? Like, I was like, man, that's not the right conversation. That we should be having. This shouldn't be like the number one issue. But as you've seen, and as a lot of people have seen, like, that's the reality when something like that happens. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be trying to take care of your family and focusing on treatment and whatever, but it's those bills, they don't stop coming in.
It comes quick. You barely have time to process or grieve or anything before you start getting hounded. So
and then you're getting calls from collections because you've ignored the bills for. Yep. So it's just like it was one of those things where I thought I want to be able to help families in that situation. Where can I help?
Got a little ping on the show here.
Where can I help? And I couldn't find a single organization anywhere that was paying medical bills for families. So I was like, well, that's weird. So that's kind of how it started. I read some statistics, and it was 65% of bankruptcies in America because of medical bills. 75% of these people have insurance, and 85% of the people that declare bankruptcy on medical bills, it's on bills that are less than $10,000. Which that was the number that was like, wait a minute. $10,000 is doable. Like we can get 10,000 people to give $1. So that's kind of how it got started, and we've been rolling ever since.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a phenomenal story about how just doing a little bit can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I believe you've even taken it a step farther now with one of the new programs that you just came out with here starting this year. It was about 6-8 months ago. Or?
Launched in January. We announced it August at our 3-year anniversary party. Yep. Launched officially January 1st of this year.
So talk to us a little bit about this new program that you're able to help people with.
Yeah, so it's called Debt Forgiveness. Over the years, I started realizing, I can get these dollars to stretch. I can negotiate the bills down. I can do certain things to stretch the dollars that we do raise. But there are certain laws that are out there that help families under a certain income. So all of these hospitals are nonprofit organizations, and in order for them to continue to be nonprofits, they have to have policies that help families within a certain income level. So we essentially are enforcing the hospital's own policies, advocating for families to qualify for charity care and financial assistance. A lot of people just have no idea that it exists. And we, fill out the paperwork, and then we have like a small army of attorneys that fight pro bono for every family that needs it. And since January 1st, we've gotten about $750,000 in medical.
That's truly incredible. Seriously, like that was impressive. Sitting through and hearing through the last board meeting, there was the ability to make that much of a difference and be able to in 6 months, 4 or 5 months, be able to wipe out $750,000 in medical debt. That's truly impressive.
Yeah, it's been fun. I wasn't really expecting, I knew, I was like, okay, this program's pretty cool. I know that we're going to be able to have a huge impact and help a lot more people, but I just didn't think that it was going to catch like that. And then we got the article in Time, and we've got, a bunch of different write-ups, which has been awesome. So it's like we've gotten a lot of the publicity that obviously helps, but it's really, just trying to spread the word, get as many families that qualify in and out and get their medical debts completely forgiven, which is, a huge deal. Then we can take the money that we raise from our other program, we can put it towards, putting food on the table and paying rent and other things. So we're our impact has increased a lot. been multiplied. So it's
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways that people can help out with $4 from donating $1 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the questions that I always get asked is, how do you find the families?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
That's always one of the top questions. We partner with local organizations that nominate families in need. So we've got tons of nonprofit partners and even for-profit companies that have, we partnered with Brothers Cascadia, and they had an employee that needed some help. So it's Candlelighters for Children with Cancer, Northwest Kidney Kids, a lot of different organizations. They tell us about families in their community that need some help, and those are the families we help. So that's how we find the families. And then with debt forgiveness, it's kind of expanding the amount of families we're able to help. So we've even put ads up on Facebook like, hey, if you know someone that has overwhelming medical expenses, send them our way, see if we can get it written off. So we're trying to reach more and more families and trying to find strategies for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things we'll post down in the link in the comments section too, is the how to reach out and how to nominate a family or encourage a family to reach out.
Sure.
That could definitely benefit from that program. So, and that's what it's all about is, collectively together, what are we doing here if we're not all helping each other out, right? So how can we get out in the communities more, spread the word more? And that's one of the things that I love about $4 is not only that, you're out in the communities. There's a lot of different events that you go to. We do a Merchant of the Month here with Riverside that benefits $4. So, and Jared himself comes out to the events and is there showing his face, shaking hands with people, getting to know them, getting to know the community. And that's how collectively all of us together can help those families in need. So, that's one of the big things that I love about $4 and being able in the position I'm in to give back. Because if you're out there and things are going great for you, at some point you're going to be in a tough spot and need some assistance. So it's cool to see the community come together like this and be able to make a huge impact like it's been able to. So with that being said, what other ways can people help out and give back to $4?
Number one, sign up for $1. $4.org. Get your dollar. It's $12 a year. People don't really notice it's leaving, but it makes a big impact. So that's number one. Number two is we do give 100% of every dollar to the family. So we need funding donors that give towards the operating expenses. So if $1 a month doesn't excite you, but you want to give a little more, that helps as well. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities. We have, somebody's got to be reaching out to these families and walking them through the process and filling out the paperwork. There's a lot of different ways. All that can be found at $4.org.
Excellent. Very good. And then I always ask, one of the things I always like to talk about too is, there's a lot of people out there that have ideas or ways to give back or want to start a nonprofit themselves. Can you give a little advice? How did you go about starting a nonprofit, or what are some of the struggles that you've ran into personally with that? Because I'm sure it's not easy. I'm sure it's not like, hey, let's start up $4 and then all of a sudden we're writing off $750,000 the next day, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
My advice would be don't start a nonprofit. I think that the big thing, I had a lot of mentors that I went and found, just people that I knew or people that I'd heard of, and just said, hey, can I bother you? Can we get coffee? Can we go get lunch? Can I so I went and sought out people to talk to about this and get advice. So that was huge. The other thing is, and in one of those meetings, the first thing they said was, people have great ideas every day. You're probably not going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of a little discouraging, but also it encouraged me to be like, wait, I am going to freaking do this.
Right?
So, but it's true.
Challenge accepted.
Exactly. And I think that's people have great ideas every day.
Yeah.
It's just every single day trying to do something to move that idea forward.
Yeah.
That's
the biggest thing, like you said, is you have the great idea, but are you going to act on it? Are you going to put forth that action? Are you going to do it? Everybody talks about how they love to give back, but very few actually do a lot of times. So I think it kind of ties in full circle, let's get up and do. Make a better version of you. Make a better version of our community, and get out there. So if you're looking to start a nonprofit, or if you have this great idea, ask for help, ask others who've been there and done that,
Yeah.
and then get out and take that action. Start making a difference. Start small by donating $1 a month. And then start asking other people that you look up to or mentor for that advice, because that's the only way you're going to move forward and move that needle, all of us as a whole, is if we all start taking action and not just talking about the great ideas. So that's some great advice there for sure.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, with that, that's going to go ahead and conclude things here. Thanks so much, Jared, for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Remember, go to dollar4.org and just start by donating $1 a month. And then definitely reach out to Jared if you have any other families or any other ideas on how to improve and give back with $4. So thanks again for joining the show. And as always, be money, be great. Make it a great day.